The Spinoff Podcast Network.
Are you making the most of your KiwiSaver investment? Generate is an award-winning KiwiSaver provider with a track record of strong long-term performance. Making a smart decision now could add tens of thousands of dollars by the time you reach retirement. Book a no-obligation chat with a Generate KiwiSaver advisor today at generatekiwisaver.co.nz/get-advice. A copy of the product disclosure statement is available at generatekiwisaver.co.nz. The issuer of the scheme is Generate Investment Management Limited, and of course, past performance does not guarantee future returns.
I'm Toby Manhire, and this is Juggernaut, the story of the Fourth Labour Government, a podcast in 6 parts.
Doesn't give my opponents much time to run up to an election, does it?
This nation is at risk.
What do you think you're up to now, you perverted little liar?
I could smell the uranium on it as you lean towards the
most radical overhaul in the history of New Zealand's administration.
Juggernaut, the story of the Fourth Labour Government, made with the support of New Zealand On Air. Listen now on the Spinoff or wherever you get your podcasts. Kia ora tātou, this is a Gone By Lunchtime special edition with Hayden Donnell. Hi Hayden.
Kia ora.
My name's Toby Manhire. On the decks is Tina Tiller. Hi Tina.
Hi.
We will be back to normal service on Gone By Lunchtime, I think next week. But for now, we wanted to touch on the local elections, for which results are expected on Saturday, Hayden. So people can just relax, lots of time to think about it, right?
No.
Oh, ow.
Saturday afternoon is when the results will be announced, but it's a postal ballot across the country. So people, PSA, you have to post your voting papers by tomorrow, the 8th. What a stupid system. The actual election date is the 12th, but you have to post your things by 4 days earlier, the 8th, because postal cuts across the country mean that we need 4 days to deliver a letter now.
Yeah, you've informed most of Morningside directly right now, but other people will be listening to this when the podcast goes out. Tell us, what do you do if you don't make that Tuesday deadline for posting them via the occasional New Zealand Post service?
Well, I just think, first off, I want to apologise for being passionate about democracy, and I'm not taking that criticism on board, Editor Toby. But secondly, you can still cast a special vote. There will be places in your council, ward or area or district where you can cast a special vote. Often it will be a library, other times it will be a council service centre. In Auckland in particular, we're running one-stop shops. So they're at night markets, places like AUT. You can do it Rainbow Youth on Thursday. That's one I just read. And so that's where you can enrol and vote at the same time. So a special vote. Otherwise, if you do have your postal ballot, but you forgot to put it in a post box, you can. There's still places, little boxes around the tracks, libraries, etc., where you can just drop your postal ballot in there and it will still be counted.
I should say that this podcast is brought to you by Flick Electric, who are our beloved sponsors. Thanks, Flick. You can go through any politics post and have a look at the offers on there. But as well as the wonderful people at Flick, the wonderful people called the Spinoff members have bankrolled our local election section, which you've been working extremely hard on, Hayden. I thank you for that.
Yes.
You've been going up and down the country. You've been monitoring everything. You've been sharing very much the nectar of truth with the people.
Yes, I have been very generous with the nectar of truth.
So thanks to Spinoff members. If you want to have a look at Spinoff members and help keep us doing good stuff, I think that's the official script line, doing good stuff, then please have a look at Spinoff members. And you also get a free book. We've got a book coming out soon.
Yep, Toby's featured in the book, I'm featured in the book, actual good writers are featured in the book. You'll get that if you sign up to be a member.
Tina's in the book. You're in the book, Tina.
I am in the book.
Where were we? The turnout. How is it looking, turnout for the local elections?
Awful. Absolutely terrible. Terrible. The turnout's poor even in the Spinoff offices.
Oh, dear.
I did a little survey and Sam Brooks was one. He hasn't done a vote. I was trying to help him cast a vote. Maria, our bloody business editor, hasn't
Not naming
voted.
names, but you're naming names. Her voting papers are literally on her desk.
Yeah, but it's a bit late in the piece, isn't it?
Is it?
Another one that I'm absolutely disgusted by is our designer, Tina Tiller.
Right.
I'm not home. home all the time.
Hasn't voted.
I'm going to. I've been looking at policy. If you're having trouble, have a look at our site. Policy.
Oh, wow. What is it that policy allows you to do, Tina?
Have you looked at policy?
I have, thank you very much. It lets you look. If you don't know what's happening, this will tell you what is going down. Who you're going to vote for, what they're doing, what they stand for. You want to know? We got it for you.
That is beautifully put. Thank you, Tina.
I'm sorry for bringing our in-house disputes into this public forum.
The policy local is really genuinely fantastic. I used it last night, and I used the little function where you can click on the eyeball and not see the names of the candidates, because you might get seduced by someone's very cool name or some affiliation or some... Like, you might particularly love just their face. You might just go, I like that face, but you might instead not want to see the face because you're interested in the substance. You're a substance.
I think
man,
of it as if I was doing a blind peanut, or I was doing a peanut butter trial.
Yes.
And I was trying to test Kraft versus other brands. If I knew the brand was Kraft, I'd immediately think, yes, I like that one because I know Kraft. But if you blindfolded me, maybe I'd like Pix better.
It's the K on Kraft. You once read a piece about K bars and what the K stands for in K bars. Was it Kraft?
It was absolutely not Kraft. I have some really bad news. If you do not want to know what the K and K bars stands for, turn off the podcast now and go.
Well, don't turn it off. Just
turn it off.
Take off just mute it.
The K,
turn it off.
The K and K bars. Are you ready for this? Stands for quench with a K.
Okay, you can return now.
Disgusting.
I mean, it's true. It's one of the most disappointing moments of many New Zealanders' lives was reading that. Once again, Hayden delivering disappointment to the people of Aotearoa, New Zealand.
Abysmal. As Jason Kerrison often said to me when I was up north recently for the Far North election, that's abysmal. He uses the word abysmal a lot. Jason Kerrison of Opshop.
Tell us a bit more about Jason Kerrison. He wants to build an airport out of
hemp. So Jason Kerrison of Opshop is standing in the Far North District Council elections. I was just up there, so it's fresh in my mind. He is a real visionary guy. He's lovely to talk to. He's very articulate, but he's also quite out there, I guess. So he's building an industrial hemp farm on the outskirts of Kaitaia. And he wants a paradigm-shifting economic transformation in the Far North based on hemp. So hemp has all of these different uses. You can make it into hempcrete, and he wants to make an international airport in Kaitaia out of hempcrete.
Hempcrete.
Yes. He also is very into the blockchain, and he wants to put himself out of a job in council in 3 years because he wants everyone to be making decisions on the blockchain.
What about the hemp chain?
No, you're confusing two things there, Toby. The hemp is very different. The hemp's more of a physical thing, and the blockchain's more of a online sort of a...
What about the block hemp?
I feel like this is actually going to take quite a long time for me to explain this to you in a fulsome manner.
I never really knew what Opshop was because it's a totally different band that does that song Brimful of Asher, right? Well, who does that song Brimful of Asher? Brimful of Asher on the... Who does that song? Are you looking it up, Tina? Brimful of Asher on the... What is it? Is that Corner Shop?
Yes.
It's really funny because a lot of the time, Toby, I don't realise how old you are, but then just little moments like these, you can just see a glimmer of exactly what the situation is.
We started in Northland. What else you've been up there? Hayden's actually, it pains me to say it, but Hayden has written an excellent feature on the contest going up in the far north. Give us a little TLDR on the rest of that, Hayden.
Okay, so the guy up there is John Carter. He's been the mayor up there. He's a National Party guy. He's been up there for 6 years. Contesting him this year is a whole suite of people, a record 11 people. But one of the most notable ones is Jay Heppy. So Jay Heppy is a former gang leader for the Tribesmen, the Rebels Motorcycle Club. But he turned his life around. Now he's a paragon of the community, etc. But he turned his life around using Destiny Church's Man Up program. So he's sort of, the Tamakis have been supporting him. You know, they've got all of these sort of Destiny volunteers on the ground. They're trying to shuttle people into the J Hepi campaign. So that's a little bit of a controversial thing, but he's quite a cool guy. He seems like a really lovely guy. It's just this kind of quite odd association with the Tamakis. But he has a point that maybe, like, there's this huge Māori population in the far north, and they haven't really been represented by the council or national politics, really. And he's trying to get them into voting, and it's a desperate cause because there's quite a few disenfranchised people, but he's doing God's work.
And John Carter is the incumbent up there, yeah?
Yes. National Party, John Carter. So John Carter, famously, I mean, he's quite well liked. He's quite a jocular guy, but he did a terrible thing in the 90s where he called up John Banks's talkback radio show and pretended to be, I'm doing quote marks, work shy Māori called Hone. And so that made international headlines. It was one of his most notable things. Now he's a mayor in one of the most high percentage Māori districts.
And a few other interesting candidates up there too. Sue Bradford is standing for
Te Hiku ward, which is the northernmost ward in the country. There's some amazing kind of green candidates that are standing like quite... I mean, Kierison's one of them. Sue Bradford is another. There's a young lawyer called Sasha Kearney-Yanker who's quite progressive. They've got another Green MP, David Clendon, standing in one of the wards. They have all these guys. Dave Hookway is a prominent...
A lot of Daves.
Yeah, there's all these guys and women up there that are quite interesting, and they seem like there's a lot of old guard in the far north that they have to take out, and they're making a go of it. There's billions of candidates.
Sliding down the country from the north to Auckland, I mean, the far north the far north race, forgive me, looks like it more interesting than the Auckland one. Is that fair? I don't want to be dismissive of it, but I mean, did the Auckland mayoral debate particularly ever really develop into something that was properly interesting? It looked like it might at least be quite a close contest. Do you think that John Tamihere's remark at that debate, at the pub debate where he said Sig Heil, was damaging? I mean, I know someone like Matthew Hooton, for example, felt that his challenge at that point was pretty much over.
To me, it wasn't that surprising, but it felt like the wind went out of the sails at that moment, because I guess the fear with John Tamihere is that he'd go back to his old kind of controversial saying silly stuff ways, and like that did it. And so maybe that deflated their efforts to kind of reassure the conservative right-wingers across the city that he's the right man to lead. And whether that was the moment, whether it will be closer than it seems it's going to be, I don't know. But also there's sort of whispers as well coming out of particularly the Goff camp that they've done polling, but they're not releasing it. But the reason that they're not releasing it is that they think it will actually deflate their vote because they're so far ahead.
Yeah.
This may or may not be true. I'm just doing rumours.
It's certainly the case that, I mean, there have been 20 debates or something like that, like so many more than in any other part of the country as far as I can see.
And they're just punishing.
And they certainly punished you. You had to attend quite a few of them, and I can see the kind of life disappear from your eyes over the course of the campaign. But
that's an astute observation.
Or maybe that was just spending time with us that did that to you.
It was a little bit of everything.
The Tamihere approach, kind of almost unabashedly, you can see that the strategy is you've got to get cut through. You've got to say some things that are going to get some attention. We want to be against the status quo. We want to mix things up a bit. That's what Auckland needs. So, yeah, we'll say some things that will get some attention. And Tamihere has pretty much acknowledged that. Or in the debates that I saw, he wasn't desperate to get into the detail so much as saying the orthodoxy can't hold.
Yeah, I think maybe he says that, but I also just think that and Matt McCartan acknowledges this, that John just can't help it. If he can see a thing that might be like a little bit borderline, a little bit offensive, this is why he said Zeke Hale. He just can't help it. It's fun for him to go there. It makes it more interesting to him. I think he's bored if he doesn't do that.
Fly towards the sun.
Yeah, he loves to just be just close to the line, and sometimes he steps over it. But I think his strategy in general is to sidle up alongside every special interest group, every angry group in the city, everyone that's dissatisfied at council, and say, I'm on your side. And those are often the older, whiter conservative people, and they're often got quite strident campaigns. I think of maybe Chamberlain Park, where they've done like chainsaws, stopped a chainsaw massacre with crosses over the trees of the golf course that's going to be divided. Anyway, he does that, and then his second part of the pitch is also, I've got this base in West Auckland, and I'm Māori. You know, I hope that I can get some of just people in South and West Auckland to vote for me.
We've got for anyone who is in Auckland, hopefully the rest of the country hasn't tuned out yet. We have on the site tomorrow. We're talking today on Monday. On the site tomorrow morning, we've got a sort of last pitch from Tamahiri and Goff, including Tamahiri saying that kind of starts off by saying the Spinoff sucks. Really,
yes,
which is, I mean. He's not all wrong, is he?
It's quite hard to debate him on that point, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, he did devote quite a lot of his column to owning me, and I think that's a legitimate.
He's speaking to quite a large constituency,
quite a broad audience. I would say there.
Okay, so look out for those on the website. Let's keep shuttling south. You went to Hamilton.
Love it in Hamilton. Much more encouraging than Auckland.
You went to a debate there a few weeks ago. Was that it was Mike McRoberts chairing that?
Yes.
It was
Mike McRoberts took a day off the news so that he could chair a debate on the Hamilton City Council, and he grilled all the candidates and all that.
It's not the most obvious choice, but makes a lot more sense than another debate that I think they had planned in Hamilton, and it may be happening around now, and which was being chaired by John Tamahiri.
Yeah, so there's a Hamilton Chamber of Commerce debate.
Like an administrative error.
Yeah. I don't know, because the guy who's the head of the Chamber of Commerce down there ran for mayor unsuccessfully last time. It seems maybe a little bit of a crackpot, and now John Tamahiri is chairing the mayoral debate. I'm not sure that John Tamahiri knows what the issues are in Hamilton, to be honest. It's a weird choice, to be honest, but it's an interesting one. I might send someone along.
The debate you did go to, though, it actually seemed like some quite interesting people on show. For a local body that is quite often described, and not without evidence, as having some of the more alarming people associated with it, it sounds as though it was a reasonably constructive debate.
Yeah, so I mean, Hamilton has some of the worst councillors in the country. There's no denying it. James Casson, who was on the stage, is the one who said that every tear shed for victims of the Christchurch massacre was sort of wasted and shouldn't be. It was quite bad. He's sort of called refugees scum. He's a rates hawk. He was on stage. He's contesting mayor. But there's also some interesting people. Louise Hutt is a 26-year-old progressive, and she... I guess maybe an analogous campaign might be Chloe Swarbrick's campaign. She doesn't quite have the same momentum, but she has some of the same progressive ideas that she's putting on the table. Yeah. And she's advocating for youth, which needs to happen. It's a very young city, and it hasn't got young people representing it, just like a lot of places around the country.
Like the Spinoff.
Yeah. Like, I mean, who's chairing this podcast right now?
Brimful of Usher on the op shop.
It looks like Paula Southgate might win that election. She's a kind of, I think, probably centre-leftish kind of a candidate. Right. But she voted against a rates rise recently, which was to improve a bunch of infrastructure that was run down. And that rates rise was advocated for by the mayor, Andrew King, who's a weird, compelling figure.
Yeah.
I find him quite odd. He's this Christian conservative associated with quite a Pentecostal church down there. You know, he is sort of into running council like a business and all that sort of stuff. But also he's sort of, he put up the rates a lot because he's like, well, the city's run down. It needs to be, you know, which is not a rates hawk kind of right-wing position. He bought properties in the centre of the town because he wants to turn it into public facilities. He's very big on Māori representation. He put in Māori seats on the council committees. And there's one other thing that I found surprising about him, but I can't remember. But he's this odd collection of I've never met a man who I felt was just more certain of everything. Everything is just he didn't seem to have an ideology so much as he was just like, well, this makes sense, I'm going to do it this way. It was oddly soothing to listen to because he's just like, I'm going to do this and this and this.
That is quite reassuring, isn't it?
Yeah, I felt like joining a religion.
I thought that you already...
Led by him.
Right,
No, I'm not.
a new one. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. The Hamilton Merrill race, is that STV or first past the post?
It's first past the post, but
So
interestingly...
that favours Andrew King, right? He'll win.
No, Paula Southgate looks like she's going to win.
No, Andrew King will win.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, the Chamber of Commerce polls had Paula at 20% and him at 15%, so those are the top two.
Yep.
And Angela O'Leary is the other one who might get there, and she's at like 12 or something.
But that is a good example of where STV, single transferable vote, would make sense. The idea that you could become mayor off the back of 20% of people, which by my calculations is 1 in 5, that's a bit ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a stupid thing. And actually, probably in this case, the right wing of the city is the one being screwed, which is unusual because Angela O'Leary and Andrew King are both right wing. And they would have a combined more support than Paula Southgate, but she is ahead. So STV, and actually all of the candidates on stage, bar Andrew King at that debate, favoured a change to STV. So it looks like they probably will.
Well, that's because he's going to win under the current system, right?
Yeah,
like
well,
I
he
said.
did win under the current system.
Yeah, he's going to win this time as well, isn't he?
No.
Further, let's go to Porirua. Porirua. Alex Bray has been treading the tarmac for us in the Wellington region lately. He relocated with his bulletin empire to the harbour city capital, Wellington.
He seems to be slowly unravelling down there,
right,
in the capital.
Is he?
Yes.
I think he's all right.
I'm just getting that vibe, and maybe I'm projecting. But
Yeah. I think you're projecting. He's fine.
I'm certainly slowly unravelling up here.
I wouldn't say slowly. He did a really interesting piece which we published on the weekend about the Porirua race. Tell us a little bit about that. Give us the kind of nutshell on the Porirua race.
I guess the main thing that you need to know about the Porirua race is that the Mayor Mike Tana is. How do you say it when you're under fire? You're that embattled.
He's under fire.
He's under fire. He's beleaguered.
Beleaguered or embattled.
Beleaguered. So he's gone through
the tell adjectives. Yeah.
Even before Alex's story, he'd gone through a bunch of expenses scandal. You might remember the thing that happened to him where his family still lives in Rotorua, but he promised to move them down there, but he's kept them up there because they're caring for his sick father, and everyone kind of sided with Mike Tana.
And then there were sort of counterattacks that was being weaponized, blah blah blah.
Different things keep coming out about Mike Tana. Even this family thing, embattled,
beleaguered, polarizing.
His expenses, staff repeatedly raised concerns about his expenses, and now his expenses have been referred to police because of several times apparently where he filled up his car, twice in 2 days, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so Anna Coffey, one of the mayoral candidates down there, has been tweeting about it, saying it's a grotesque misuse of public funds. That wasn't a direct quote from Anna. I could get her direct quote.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, I think let's keep moving. Because Tina's nodding off. But the Porirua
I'm
race.
so into it. I'm just like, I just want to impart this information, but I can only imagine just how
an ordinary everyday New Zealander
would respond to this.
The Porirua race really is interesting, and Porirua itself is fascinating. People who are familiar with Wellington region may not know a great deal about Porirua, but it is an absolutely fascinating kind of, I was going to say microcosm, but that's probably not right. But as Alex sort of touches on in the piece, and the stories that are in Porirua are really the stories of New Zealand in a way, I think, in terms of the makeup of the place, the socio-economic realities. It's fascinating.
Yes, so I guess they're on the cusp of a bunch of things, right? They have
lots of cusping.
They've got a lot of cusps going on there.
Really
they
cusping.
have this. They do have some poverty, but they've also got this influx of cash that's coming in from people buying a home there. They're kind of on the up, but they've got these struggles, and they have a mayor who's filling up his car too much. There's all sorts of things that are relatable.
Read that along with the rest of the Hayden Donnell pop-up local elections coverage brought to you by Spinoff members. Where should we go next? Wellington, just give us one line. I mean, Wellington, we've done a fair bit on. Andy Foster is running the Peter Jackson campaign.
Yes.
Seems unlikely to unseat Justin Lester.
It looks like Justin Lester's just going to win, right? But they do have STV, so who knows what could happen? Who knows what could happen, but it's probably going to be Justin Lester.
Christchurch.
Leanne Dalziel will win at a slow canter, but I do want to highlight something that one of her opponents has said, Daryl Park.
Yes.
He wants to halt the Christchurch Cathedral rebuild and instead build there a new wonder of the world that would be on every credit card.
Monorail?
Very much so. We forgot during Auckland to talk about Craig Lord because that has been the
It's not really a
thing
monorail, though, is it?
during the debate, watching Craig Lord slowly become a crazed conspiracy theorist.
He's on about Century 21 now, Craig
Agenda. He's now investigating
Century
Agenda
21.
21. He's convinced that climate change is a hoax. He's tweeting about that a lot. This is an Auckland mayoral candidate, probably third in the race, called Craig Lord. And if anything, Craig Lord is going to spoil John Tamahire's chances, which is a very funny outcome.
We'll see about that. I don't.
Taking away votes to his right.
But back to Cathedral Square.
Sorry, back to Christchurch.
You were saying what is this Dean thingy planning?
So he wants to build in place of the Christchurch Cathedral a new wonder of the world that would be on every credit card. I guess the picture of this wonder would be on every credit card in the world.
Well, what is it? I keep feeling like you're setting up to say what it is.
I don't know what it is. He's just said that he's going to build a wonder of the world.
Like a helter-skelter? Or
I guess it would just maybe be a
Taj
spire.
Mahal?
It could be a spire. It could be a big elephant.
Okay.
I don't know. What would you build if you're building some gardens, some very lovely gardens? Maybe he'll recreate the pink terraces. It's going to be on every credit card. It could be, I guess, a big dollar sign that's maybe 400 feet high. It could be maybe, ironically, a statue of Leanne Dalziel.
What about a statue of the wizard? Because everyone in Christchurch loves the idea that their city is represented by or understood by people outside the city to be represented by the wizard, don't they?
Maybe if he could actually make whatever he constructs there magic as a tribute to the wizard. I don't know. I'm just passing on what I've heard. This is objective reporting, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Dunedin.
What a race, guys. Oh, we're getting there. We're almost at the end of the country. We're at Dunedin. Don't worry. Keep going. Woo. It's good.
Dunedin, there's a lot going on in Dunedin. I have many friends and family in Dunedin, most of whom, when asked about the local elections there, sigh for several minutes.
It's amazing just how far away from you...
of a head hitting a desk.
How far away from you your family has moved. It's almost like they've tried to get as far away from you as possible.
I hadn't thought about it that way, but
the Dunedin local election is we did a rating, sort of a snake rating of all of the politicians involved. There's just been a lot of mud slung.
Yes,
it's like a filthy pit of hogs down there.
Mud slingery, very much less cuspery. More slingering, and less cusping.
So, I mean, without going into too many of the details, all of the candidates were asked in a mayoral debate who would be their number 2 choice for mayor. Jim O'Malley, technically a progressive and a greenie, picked the ultra right-wing councillor Lee van der Vis as his, I'm not sure I'm saying that right, Van der Veen, as his number 2 choice. And so that set off just a flurry of recriminations.
You could only call it a flurry
of recriminations.
Among the beleaguered council.
So he obviously has fallen out with Aaron Hawkins, who he says has a very bad cackle. He doesn't like Aaron's cackle. Yes, like that. Awful. And we have verified that Aaron's cackle is actually quite unnerving. We've verified that with a former flatmate. And so, but there's a whole bunch of people hassling each other down there about various things. Claire Curran's got involved. She's against O'Malley.
Well,
you know,
I think
she
said she'd been misrepresented by some of the reporting. I mean, Claire Curran Anyway, it's not.
Scout Barbara Evans,
Lots of
they've
people.
said that they have a
good
problem
people.
with
Keen people.
Aaron.
Great city.
Oh, a lot of stuff going on there. There's also some issues, some policies
Oh yes,
and issues.
lots of issues. I mean, the final thing we should say really is that there's Tim Shadbolt, of course, down in Invercargill, but even more importantly, I mean, one of the greatest politicians New Zealand has seen, standing for the Otago District Council, is it Michael Laws?
Yes.
I mean, there's nothing you can say really except Michael Laws.
Otago Regional Council, Michael Laws.
Michael Laws. Can you say Michael Laws, Dina?
Michael Laws.
Thank you.
Say it a little bit. Michael Laws, like just kind of dejected.
Why? I thought he was a good man.
I thought you did great. Did great. Yeah, you did great.
I'll talk to you after.
He's former mayor of Whanganui, and I will just say before we go, because we're nearly done, because this is really just a promotional exercise for the magnificent content range across a range of platforms from Hayden Donnell, including you staged a debate with Hamish McDougall, who is standing uncontested, one of a number of races that are uncontested. Hamish McDougall, no one wanted to stand up and take him on in the mayoral contest for Whanganui, and you, Hayden Donnell, in the cause of democracy, got him up on a laptop and
on Skype
and made him.
I humiliated him.
Well, I mean,
I wiped the floor with his democratic butt.
I mean, I was there, so I wouldn't necessarily characterise it as.
You have your opinion. I have the truth. What I did is I debated Whanganui's mayor, Hamish McDougall, and he came out second best, but only because there's only two of us. Otherwise, he would have been last best.
Right. Again, I don't think that's necessarily the objective. I mean, it was close. It was a close-run thing. I mean, he knew more about things than you did.
Yeah, but did he have the spirit? The answer is probably no. The interesting thing about this, the debate belies a darker truth, which is that nearly 1 in 5 elections across New Zealand are uncontested. So they only have the number of candidates necessary to fill the seats there are, so 1 for a mayor, whatever. It's really bad. That's really bad. Nearly 1 in 5 where there's really no democracy. And there's actually elections where there's actually just positions that are unfilled, so not enough candidates to even fill the number of positions available. And that seems bad, especially when coupled with our 43% turnout last election, which is undoubtedly going to be lower this time around. So,
not after this podcast, Hayden.
Local democracy is in trouble.
This is where everything changes.
I mean, if you've gotten to this point of the podcast, you're probably
ready,
not
New Zealand
part
Post.
of the problem.
Get ready. If you have got this far in the podcast, we thank you.
Yeah.
From the very bottom of our hearts.
Let's face it, you've probably already voted. You're probably on a campaign.
This podcast has been brought to you by Flick Electric, by Spinoff members, by Tina, by Hayden, by me, Toby. We'll be back soon with Gone By Lunchtime with Annabelle and Ben. And we'll go out on Hayden with an impassioned call to action on the part of the people of New Zealand to vote.
Go to the library and cast your vote.
Talofa lover, I'm Madeline Chapman, editor at The Spinoff. If you have the means, consider supporting our high-quality journalism by becoming a Spinoff member. Sign up now at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
Kia ora, I'm Alex Casey, senior writer at The Spinoff. We wouldn't exist without the ongoing support of our generous members. If you're able to, you can make a donation at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
The Spinoff Podcast Network.